super excited to talk to you all today about my research on improving software ethics with empirically validated practices. So to start, I want to give kind of an overview of the research that I do in general, starting all the way back from a PhD student all the way to now. So my research intersects software engineering, human-computer interaction, as well as machine learning, where I work to understand software practice with the goal of course, improving software practice with a current focus on supporting ethical software practices. Now, my previous work, as particularly in understanding software practice, has focused on developer tool use. So when, why, and how developers are using tools, as well as non-technical factors that can affect developers' abilities to do their job, such as their work environments. How do their work environments affect their ability to work? Now, this previous work has led to, of course, wanting to try and improve software practice. So that has been mostly focused on debugging. How can we support developers in debugging, finding bugs and removing them from their code, as well as understanding why that bug existed to begin with. So talking a little bit about the causal stuff that San Mei mentioned in his work, but also looking at things like tool adoption. How can we improve the actual adoption of tools that we're all spending time building and disseminating, as well as how we can improve the ways that tools communicate with developers to ensure that developers understand what the tool is trying to communicate and able to respond effectively and accurately. Now, my recent focus has been in supporting ethical software practices, where I've wanted to learn more about how we can support software fairness. So thinking about things like, can we test and analyze software for things like fairness? And then also looking at machine learning model fairness and whether we can support the process of analyzing models for fairness, as well as other concerns we have, such as performance. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, supporting ethical software practices, what exactly do you mean by that? That could mean a lot of things, right? Well, in terms of the research that I'm interested in supporting developers and software teams in building software that's not only high quality and high performing, but that can be validated as being legally compliant, as well as socially and globally acceptable. Thinking about how the software impacts the people that are using it on a local as well as a global level. Now, my recent focus has been in the realm of societal and global impact, where I aim to address issues such as this that we find in this article, where healthcare software, though meant to benefit society, is actually disadvantaging a portion of society, which was not intentional, obviously, but it's something that we don't want to happen, and it would be ideal if we can know that this is happening before we put the software out there for use. And so this is the type of work that I'm interested in doing, right? So you might be asking yourself now, well, Brittany, how the heck can you know that software is unethical? How will we know these types of things might happen in our software? Well, I pose that the way that we can think about this is similar to how we think about software development and the defects that we find now, right? So every piece of software starts with a set of requirements, right? And those might be performance requirements, security requirements. We can also think about how we might have ethical requirements, right? So such as sensitive inputs should not affect our software's behavior, right? A simple requirement we can make for a piece of software. So just like with any requirement that we might put out there for our software, we might know it's not being met when we have a defect. So performance defects are a thing, and we explore them in software development, as well as security defects. So I propose that we can think about ethics in a similar way, where if we've set a requirement that sensitive inputs should not affect our software behavior, and they are in fact doing so, then now we have an ethical defect that we should address. So therefore, my research is interested in supporting developers and software teams' ability to find and debug these ethical defects, right? By answering questions such as, what kind of ethical defects do software teams encounter? How do data scientists and developers debug these ethical defects? How effective are available and in-use tools at debugging these ethical defects? And then most importantly, what kind of support is needed for finding and debugging these ethical defects? How can we provide that support for software teams? At a high level, you might guess, I'm interested in the role of ethics in software development, right? So this includes finding and evaluating existing tools and practices, of course, identifying any gaps in existing practices and attempting to validate potential solutions, and then exploring developer perceptions of and understanding of ethics as this can affect their ability to actually build ethical software. And in that, I do want to thank you, and I'm open to any questions or emails or conversations, and I hope to really be able to synergize and ideate with all of you in the future. Thank you.